Hello, my name's Natalie Fleming. I'm excited to be running for U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate here in Idaho. You asked me what my qualifications are. I have many qualifications, but I'll keep it as simple as I can. I am a rancher's daughter. That being said, my parents lost the ranch by the time I was 13. And, but I grew up with a love of the land. It was in Christmas Valley, Oregon, where it's high desert and desolation. And when I turned 14, we went and saw the other land that was lush and rolling hills that we were supposed to inherit. But since that time, I've obsessed about land and dirt and soil and protecting farmers and ranchers. And right now, our farmers and ranchers are under attack. And I want to do what I can to help to protect them, as there's attacks on them from the global warming perspective and veganism. I really want to stand up for our farmers and ranchers and help them to transition into healthy agriculture systems. I also do have a background in software development. I started working in the software industry when I was 19 or 20, a long time ago. And I can't say I'm an expert in all the areas, but I do understand it sufficiently, and we can no longer afford to have Congress members that have no clue what's going on with technology. Both federal government and state governments are expanding massive surveillance programs through the Department of Everything, and taking advantage of our children in the schools. The scholastic companies that provide education systems for our schools are harvesting our kids' data. I believe in data privacy, and we need to make a stand and have a data privacy bill of rights. It's very important that I watched the congressional hearings, and I'm just dumbfounded by how ignorant the senators and representatives are in this industry, and how excited they are to expand massive surveillance, and I want to fight that. Another big issue is the polarization of our country. I would really like to represent both sides. I do come from a conservative background. I am very, very conservative. I have family members on the full range of gender issues that I love very much, and I do believe that everybody should be treated with respect. But I believe that the best solutions to our problems are complete solutions. We have to hear all of the voices. Otherwise, we end up with one-party solutions continually in Congress, whether it's with Republicans in power or Democrats in power. And what happens is the pendulum, we are getting political whiplash as the powers swing every 4 to 8 years from one party to the next. And the truth is, we're having one-sided solutions, and we need complete solutions that are thorough. We need people who are willing to sit down and work together and respect what is called the other side. I also have experience in subbing. Last fall, pre-COVID, I wanted to know what was going on in the schools. I believe every senator should do this, should sub in the schools and know exactly what's going on. So I spent a semester in the local school district subbing. And I got to work in Title I. I got to teach 5th grade. I got to teach PE. I got to see what is really happening in the schools, how the technology isn't being implemented, what they need. I saw a teacher, a wonderful 1st grade teacher that you would love to have with your children. Her password to the classroom with all access for all the children was 1st grade. So despite the fact she would take a bullet for your children, she is incredibly naive with the goal that she has in front of her to protect her kids. So I think this is something that is on a national scale. We need to have people involved in Congress that understand that. I do have a special needs adult. I've been a single mom for most of my parenting time. I have 4 kids, and they're all adults now. And that really toughened me up. And so those are some of my qualifications. You don't want to listen for an hour. Why am I running? Why in the world would I run? And if you look at my position in my life right now, the whole world is in chaos. And of course, chaos is my life as a single mom. I feel like 2020, everybody's catching up with me and my friends and all the challenges we've had. But I look at Congress and DC, and I just think they're doing it all wrong. But I think hashtag you're all wrong isn't a very good campaign slogan. Obviously, I believe that I can help people to work together. And I have a lot of great ideas, many of them can only be implemented at the federal level. I know some people would think that I should run at the state level first, but we all know that if you run at the state level, you get conditioned to the parties, you get conditioned to the rules, and you learn to play by their rules. We need someone to go to DC with culture shock and corruption shock, who's not willing, who isn't trained to comply. And I am certifiably stubborn and non-compliant. So I love our Constitution. I love America. I love Idaho. And I will protect Idaho and Idaho's rights. Another thing, while I think I see that there's so many things that can be best implemented at the federal level, we also need to get the federal government out of the way. The federal government is in the way of a lot of great programs. For example, in agriculture, there is something called a water retention landscape. It's something that farmers and ranchers can use to hold the water on their ranch, on their land, as the rain falls. It's very simple. It's what beavers do, yet it is illegal. So a lot of great practices are illegal. A lot of the Bureau of Land Management practices, a lot of practices that are good are illegal. So we need to make some changes on that. Some of the issues that I care about, what are some of the key issues that I am running on? I'll keep it simple, 3 issues. I'll stick to 3. Education, K-12, well, we're gonna skip K-12 and go straight to college. As a single mom, I tried to go to school with 4 kids. My oldest is Aspen, my youngest is autistic. And let me tell you, that was an experience. So let's just take all the college lectures, all of them, put them on YouTube and let people test out for a small fee. It costs next to nothing. And that you don't have daycare issues. You can do it at your own leisure and then test out for a small fee. A byproduct of that is worldwide education. We are already paying as taxpayers for 100,000, pre-COVID, we were paying for 100,000 live lectures of just Calculus 1 every year, which is ridiculous. It's absurd. Put it all, taxpayers through Pell Grants, Perkins loans, put it all on YouTube, let people test out. That knowledge would then be accessible to the third world, or what, I don't know the politically correct term anymore for that. And that's another tool for them to improve their countries. And as long as things are terrible there and great here, they're going to want to come here, and it's just a tool for them to help build their own country. Another big issue, of course, is data privacy. I already mentioned that, but data privacy, protection from mass surveillance, that is a big issue. I already mentioned that one. Of course, another big issue is fighting corruption. In DC, there's, of course, dialing for dollars. Google that, where the senators and congressmen are expected to sit in a call center and call to raise money to get the positions they want. But bigger than that is they will present an Omnibus Bill the day before. It's 1,000 to 2,000 pages long. It's supposed 12 bills squeezed into one, and they're holding the country hostage, and they say, sign this, vote yes on this by tomorrow morning, or all the seniors are going to be kicked out of their facilities. All the veterans will starve. They hold the country hostage by presenting these bills at the last minute. And I am stubborn. I will vote no. And I will tell them ahead of time so they'll know that Natalie Fleming is going to vote no. You can count on that. If I don't have a time to read it, I will vote no. So corruption in DC, if you send somebody who's already conditioned, who's already been a senator here or a representative here, they're conditioned to comply with party. I will not comply. So those are my 3 big issues. Well, there's plenty more. I got issues, honey. So another question you have asked me is, how will I manage growth? Now, personally, I perceive that as a local issue. Remember, I mentioned that I do believe in getting the federal government out of the way. And that is a good way to manage growth. The federal government owns, I have this number in my head, I believe it is correct, go ahead and fact check me, 63 or 61% of Idaho is owned by the federal government. And they're doing a sucky job. They're terrible land managers. They're the ones who nuked Nevada, killed the beavers, killed the bison. The federal government, we know in Idaho, does a terrible job managing the land. I would rather see poorly managed BLM land go for home development, or, I hate to say this publicly, I do believe in homesteading. I'd like to certify people in regenerative agriculture, holistic management, and after they qualify, to either lottery or do small land grants so that they can rejuvenate the soil. The federal government has been desertifying the land that is sagebrush areas or grassy areas, and then of course they've been burning down our forests. So they don't know what they're doing. So, so as far as how to manage growth, that needs to be taken care of at the local level, and that needs to be done through giving the local governments power and control over their state. And I just see such an arrogance in DC on their attitude towards Idaho and federal lands. So anyway, another big issue that is very important to me is the housing issue. 3 years ago, I was telling people that Idaho was going to be in a massive housing crisis. In 2008, 2007, when we had the last housing, well, prior to the 2007, 2008 housing crisis, the federal government demanded that the mortgage companies go ahead and loan to the poor. The bank said, great, we're going to loan to the poor. We're just going to charge them 3 to 5% more. They can pay $300 to $500 more per month, which of course set up the poor for failure. So when the poor failed, they said, see, it's irrational for us to loan to the poor. We shouldn't loan to them anymore. Then the these homes that were foreclosed on prior to 2007, 2008, those homes would have gone to an online to a home auction. I bought my second home at a home auction with an owner occupied preference. What that means is if you're going to move into the home, you get first bid on these homes. Instead of continuing that program, all the foreclosed homes were put in package deals and sold to international equity firms in bulk, taken away out of the individual family market. And those homes are now being rented to us at inflated prices. And massive international equity firms are going through different communities and buying up homes en masse. They'll take a home that was previously rented for $1,000, polish it up a little bit and rent it out for $1,700. And because of their diversified market share across the country and across the world, they can drive up the prices in Caldwell and wait it out. I believe in individual home ownership. And if we, the more I read, the more I learn, the angrier I get, the more vicious I feel towards how I would handle these corporations in Congress. I believe that the best way to handle any crisis is if individuals own their homes. When you read the stories of the people who survived the Great Depression, the people who owned their home and had a garden, they did well. And I do believe the 30-year mortgage has failed. And all of my policies will be towards home ownership. The longer somebody rents, the sooner they become dependent upon the state for those rental payments, because people cannot rent forever. So we need to move all classes of people to personal home ownership, which is better than, I don't believe in monopolies, whether it's a corporate monopoly or a government monopoly. So I passionately need to fight for you so that you can own your homes.